I want Kevin to introduce his team first of all, if you haven't met them already, and then talk about what they've been doing on the ground since they've arrived, types of work they're doing proactively with the community, and even what you were doing on the day of and the days after the actual shooting. And then we'll get Carl back in to talk about a little more of the investigations.
Thank you, Chief. So I'm Sergeant Kevin Linitz. Been a police officer with the Ottawa Police for 18 years now. I'm the new sergeant of the new team. It's called the Neighbourhood Resource Team. I'm nowhere near as refined speaker as the chief or the inspector, so I will do my best to get through this. So basically, I'll just give a quick explanation of our unit, what it's about, what we've been doing. First, I'll start off by introducing three of my members. So that's Constable Eric Douglas, Constable Wayne Clayton, Constable Mohammed. I'm sure most of you have met Marcus. I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name. Maybe you can say it up for everybody. Sebastino. Close enough? Okay. And Brad over here. So just as an example of how committed the chief is to your communities, in the beginning of November, we started up this neighborhood resource team. Specifically, our team is responsible for the South End. There are other teams, various teams deployed throughout the city, but our team, we're responsible for the South End. And I can speak for these guys here because I've worked with them all for many years now. This is a tenacious bunch. So the idea behind our neighborhood resource team is that we work collaboratively. So we have what you would call, generally speaking, beat cops, myself and the three fellas to the right over there. We're out in the streets and we're actually interacting with the public. We have Marcus, who is also assigned to us. He's a community police officer. We have a SRO, so a school resource officer, and we have two traffic officers assigned to my team. The difference between our team and regular patrol, although we appear to be the same, this new team, as the chief was explaining earlier, is more proactive as opposed to reactive. General patrol officers, God bless their hearts, they are doing everything that they can, but they are severely overworked. And so those are the officers that are responding to the 911 calls and the calls for service. And they're literally, I can say this because I was a sergeant on the road for 3 years prior to coming to this team. They're going from call to call to call to call to call. And unfortunate byproducts of that is that yes, they're busy and they're doing work, but they haven't got the time to engage the community and actually go out there and find out what the issues are within your community. And this is where we hope to bridge that gap. We want to be out talking to citizens, members of the public, and find out what is directly impacting your lives and how can we help solve that problem. Now, we have our team sort of mishmashed of various specialties. Also within our team, there's a city team. So that includes like bylaw, Ottawa Housing, various other partners. So every quarterly, I would say, quarterly, we'll meet and find out if there's issues or problems, and maybe we've identified some of those problems, but it's not necessarily a police problem. So we may be able to make those referrals, whether it's a mental health or an addiction problem, any one of those things. We're going to try to get those resources collaborating so that we can help identify these problems and get the people the appropriate resources. Because enforcement, while it might be appropriate in some situations, might not always be our best solution. So we started this November, basically, more or less November, is when we actually kind of hit the ground running. So it's fairly new, but our intention is to be a proactive unit. So we want to get out there, we want to engage the community, we want to know who you are. We want to meet your children, we want to meet your husbands, your wives, your grandparents. We really want to be part of this community. And we want you, I understand that you probably see uniformed officers responding to calls, and quite a few of these meetings I go to, the reaction I get is, well, you look really busy. I don't really want to bug you because you're going to do something as a uniform officer. So we're hoping to bridge that gap. We want to be the guys that are walking through your neighborhoods. We're going to predominantly be out on foot and walking through your neighborhood. And we want to engage you in conversation. We want you to engage us in conversation. Part of that is, you know what, if you haven't got any problems, that doesn't matter to us. We want to know that everything's going well, because part of that will eliminate the stigma of we don't talk to police. There's a lot of residents out there that want to provide information to police, but they don't want to be seen speaking with police. If this is a regular occurrence, this conversation and this dialogue, just as we're out on the street, if we know your children, we're frequently going to community centers and schools, just trying to interact with the youth for a couple of reasons. One, to try to steer them down the right path, but also just to get to know them. We also would like to get to know you folks, right? So by all means, if you see us out there, please, I'm asking you to engage us in conversation. Good, bad, ugly, we're indifferent. We just want to be there. We want to be an ear for anything that's going on in your community. Having said all that, I'm just going to echo what the chief and the inspector was saying, is that we need community involvement. We do. These are your communities. This is where you folks live. We can be there some of the times, most of the times, but you folks are the ones that are there all the time. You know who belongs in these neighborhoods. You know who doesn't belong in these neighborhoods. You know when you see something weird that just doesn't sit right. We need you to let us know. This is how we can go out and proactively challenge some of these issues. And hopefully this will address some, like the chief was saying, I think we'd be foolish to expect that we're going to eliminate crime altogether. It's just an unrealistic expectation. But I think what we'd like to do is to continue to curtail it from 25 to 7, maybe down to 2 or 3%, I think might be a somewhat acceptable percentage. Of course, we're striving for 0, but again, we need community help